This week I saw a heartwarming video of Jaron Jackson Jr. giving out backpacks to local school kids. And perhaps more important than the gift of the backpacks themselves, the kids were truly over the moon that Triple J was there in person, spending time with them. You could see and you could hear the squeals of delight upon just being close to this person. And of course, Jaron could have just made a donation and gotten someone else to deliver the bags. But when Jaron was interviewed about his community service work, he said, "It's the holiday season and making someone smile is the priority." He said, "I always have so much help when giving back and when making people feel good, but I am so glad, I'm so blessed to be on the front lines." Even when you are as famous as Jaron, even when you could spend your time hanging out with Ja or with Yuta Watanabe, there is something truly special, something truly powerful about seeing your fans or seeing normal people, panim el panim, seeing them face to face, lifting and lighting their spirits. Perhaps that is why this week in our parasha, in our Torah reading, we find Joseph, the second most powerful man in all of Egypt, handing out rations to starving people himself. In the words of the 17th century Rabbi Shabtai HaKohen, or also known as the Shrach, even though Joseph was the governor and everyone was at his command, he did not assign the disbursement of food to anyone else. Instead, he did it all himself. Joseph served as an example of how we must ourselves work at carrying out good deeds. And it is precisely because Joseph took the time to be amongst the people that he once again came face to face with his brothers, who decades before had sold him into slavery and who had come down to Egypt in search of food that they could bring back to their family in Canaan. The brothers, of course, they didn't recognize Joseph, who looked more like an Egyptian prince than the Hebrew shepherd that they had thrown into the pit so many years before. This story, it marks the beginning of Judah's and the other brothers' teshuvah, of their repentance and reconciliation, which ultimately resulted in the reunification of their family in Egypt, and which sets the stage for the Israelites to step into their unfolding destiny. If Joseph had commanded a servant to hand out the rations, he never would have known that the brothers had changed, and Jacob's sons would have just remained 12 brothers, not the namesakes of the 12 tribes of Israel and the great nation that they would become. But Joseph's actions didn't just have implications for our nation, for the Jewish people. Joseph teaches us how to respond to the needy and how to treat other people with respect, no matter their station in life or ours. Seeing the humanity of others, that nitzotz, that spark of holiness inside of each person, no matter how ragged or how regal their appearance, that is, believe it or not, one of the messages of this holiday of Hanukkah. The book of Proverbs teaches, Ner Adonai Nishmat Adam, that each and every human soul is like a candle to God. And according to the Hasidic Rabbi, the Sfat Emet, that word ner, candle, like the Hadlik Ner Shel Chanukah or Shel Shabbat, that word ner is a contraction or abbreviation for the words nefesh and ruach, two of the Hebrew words for a soul. The Sfat Emet writes, especially at this season, when lights were miraculously lit for Israel, even though they didn't have enough oil, there remains light even now to help us, with the aid of these Hanukkah candles, to find that hidden light within ourselves and those around us. The mitzvah of Hanukkah is to kindle and to enjoy the miracle of the light, not just the light of these candles, but the ner inside of each person, and the light that you and I, that all of us can help illuminate, by taking the time to see someone else face to face. So in the words of Rabbi Greenstein's column in the Daily Memphian last week, and as our president, Wendy Rotter, quoted in her email to our congregation, Rabbi Greenstein wrote, "Every good act, every healing gesture, every note of compassion and forgiveness lights a candle of hope in a dark world." So may that be our task this Hanukkah season, whether we have a 7'4" wingspan, whether we are the vizier of an empire, or whether we are just someone trying to make a difference in our little corner of the world. May we not shy away from being present with others, seeing their humanity, kindling their light, and allowing them to kindle ours in return. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Urim Sameach. Happy Hanukkah.